Okay, I'm going to show you what's going on here. I'm trying to post a comment about this video, and I'll just show you how this is playing out. First, let's listen to what the general has to say.
Influence them in the space domain, and you can influence, and there are no boundaries in these domains.
Okay, so I think, forgive me, sir, you're a 4-star general.
Yeah.
You're a very important individual, but I'm a simple man,
Yeah.
and so I need it broken down for me. So,
Okay.
for example, I know I've been keeping up with the news, and I know that there's huge social media campaigns that
Right.
occur before an actual battle ever occurs now.
Right.
Is that true?
Well, they call it the gray zone effect, and there's, you look at what some nations are doing. Russia's pretty darn good at it. China as well, where in what we used to call phase 0, pre-conflict, I don't like that term at all. I think it's always, there's always going to be competition, and we're in a hyper competition now, always. And you're exactly right. They will be working to shape and influence people's perceptions before a conflict even occurs, and hope that what happens is it's a fait accompli, that before we even fire a bullet, they've already won. And if you look at Russia and Ukraine, a little bit of that. We call them little green men. They took off their patches, claimed they weren't Russians, just to put just enough doubt. Cyber stuff happening, events happening, and it wasn't quite. They're just staying right below the threshold of conflict, but yet they.
And then as soon
got
as
the
it was time
territory.
to turn conflict, it was already over.
Already over. They already had the territory. They already had what they wanted. Now they hold on to it. So this is new, and there are other aspects that are new. I would tell you that the speed of human velocity of human interaction is at a rate never before seen. You can put out a video and millions look at it. And when I was your age, there's no way I could get millions of people to look at anything. I can have a private that does something have 106,000 people in the U.S. Army in the Pacific. I can have a private that does something that's on CNN tonight, a worldwide impact.
Okay, basically he was talking about what he called earlier the human domain. So anyways, let's get into this. That's a problem for them, and especially if they're doing anything dirty, is that if they might be held accountable by the public. And what I was doing was trying to post this comment here on YouTube. I originally put it on there. I'm going to delete this part here. I originally was typed it in, and I copied and pasted it from YouTube into Word, Microsoft Word. And let's see what happens to this thing when you try to put it into YouTube. So I'm going to put it right back. I'm copying it. I'm going to put it right back in here and see if it'll post. I've already written that I can't get it to post. You know, I keep trying to post this thing and it doesn't post. Now watch what happens. So I'll put it here. I'll paste. Voila, there's my comment. That's critical of everybody. I'm going to take away some of these extra spaces. I don't know why it keeps adding these extra spaces. Alright, so there it is, right? Now I'll hit the comment button. Okay, and I'll look up here, and oh my goodness, there's my video. It's in the comments, right? Certainly looks like it, right? Okay, so now let's close out YouTube. Okay, this is another thing I was trying to link to. Alright, okay, so we'll close this all out. I've already saved it, so I don't need to save it again. Alright, and so now I'm going to open YouTube. Or Internet Explorer, or Google Chrome, I'm sorry. And I'll go back to YouTube. My comments are supposed to be posted there, right, on that video. So we'll go find that video. And it's amazing how YouTube will definitely keep track of where I've been, because I can write the future. Well, look at that, it's already up. I haven't even written out the full title. The Future of Warfare, Smarter Every Day. Okay, so we'll go in there and take a look. Well, there he is. Amazing. Let's see, is my comment there? big long
impact,
comment.
influence, good or bad.
Okay, so let's go. He even took me back to the spot I was watching last. All right, where's my comment? Let's see. Oh, they're loading right now. Oh, my big long comment is gone. Well, maybe it's just because it's sorted wrong. Maybe, I just posted it. So let's look at the newest first comments. Gone. The big long comment is gone. I got all these other comments in here that I've been making about it not showing up. But my big long comment is gone. I have done this since about 11 o'clock. It is now 12:27 in the morning. It's almost been an hour and a half, and I can't get this thing to post, no matter how hard I try. So, if I can't post it there, I might as well just read it to you in my own video. So let's go back to Word. Okay. Actually, that was the part I deleted up there at the top, but it's the same thing. It's just a repeat. Okay, so this is really the beginning of it. This just didn't have any formatting and no paragraphs. So I forgot. That was the part I didn't want. It's the same thing. Okay, so this is my comment. This video made my stomach sick. To look at that guy talk about the human domain. General Brown was involved in leading missions into the Iraq War and counterterrorism. However, people like him were really interested in stopping terrorism. They would look within the government where a lot of false flag terrorism comes from, 9/11 being the elephant in the room. Obviously, to anyone who has a brain, Building 7 as well as the Twin Towers came down way too fast, basically at free fall acceleration rates, like a bowling ball falling through thin air. However, the upper portions of the building were not falling through thin air. They were supposedly falling through enormously strong steel structures, or strong structural steel, and which was the path of most resistance and certainly much more resistant than thin air. I say supposedly because what we were told to believe is that they were falling, pancaking, through themselves, but this could never happen in reality at free fall acceleration rates, especially with Building 7, simply because the structure of the buildings provides way too much resistance to allow an acceleration rate of free fall like a bowling ball falling through thin air, unless demolition explosives or some kind of super weapon was used to remove the steel structure. Architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth have many videos that explain this, and then I gave the link. They're currently suing the FBI. Anyways, what makes me sick is our own citizens were murdered by this false flag attack to trick America into wars in the Middle East. We killed many thousands of innocent people overseas who had nothing to do with the 9/11 attacks, and many thousands of our own soldiers died thinking they were defending America. So when I see a 4-star general talk about the human domain, basically propaganda warfare, I'm reminded of the false flag attack of 9/11. How horrible. So much for defending your country, a-hole. Yet he seems like such a nice guy. He is the guy who carries the red, white, and blue and is awarded the Global War on Terrorism Service Medal and the Global War on Terrorism Expeditionary Medal. If this guy was really interested in fighting terrorism, he would expose 9/11 rather than play along with it. I have no idea who really was involved in 9/11. I just know there is no way what we are being told is true. However, God knows. Think about that, all you people in high places who do this kind of crap. You are getting older and will die someday. You cannot escape God, nor can you fool him. You can fool people, and because of that you may think you are really smart and sly. But you cannot fool God. Good luck when you have to stand before him and try to explain all your injustices. Good luck. You're going to need it. So perhaps you aren't so smart after all, but extremely stupid. Only looking at gains in this life, but not considering the consequences in the next. Remember, someone a whole lot bigger than you is watching and knows every single thought you ever had or ever will have. And I put the scripture in Mark 8:36. For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? And basically you can go ahead and you know, just anything. Check this out. Building 7 free fall collapse. Okay, we can go to this video here, and well, here's a good example here. I mean,
that has no structural components below it.
The measurements have indicated that Tower 1 collapsed in about 11 seconds.
let's take a look
to
at
the
this.
tower. And assuming we dropped both upper sections at the same time, which one would hit the ground first? It would be the second, of course. As it finds no obstacles in it, contains enough potential energy to destroy the rest of the tower. And assuming we dropped both upper sections at the same time, which one would hit the ground first? It would be the
So obviously they're just showing you that free fall isn't going to work here. A hard time getting any quality here.
second, of course. As it finds no obstacles in its path, the section on the right would quickly accelerate to free fall speed and maintain it all the way to the ground. The section on the left instead needs to use some of its energy to destroy the structure below, so it could never achieve free fall speed. In the case of the Twin Towers, however, both upper sections fell with an acceleration close to free fall speed, as if their path had been practically free from obstacles. It took each tower between 10 and 12 seconds to collapse to the ground, while an absolute freefall time would have been 9.2 seconds. In other words, both upper sections of the towers found enough energy to destroy 80,000 tons of healthy structure below, while accelerating to near freefall speed. This is, as we have said, absolutely impossible by gravity alone. The law of momentum conservation won't allow it.
A building cannot do free fall with a huge steel structural system in place to support it.
The Twin Towers could not have come straight down through the resistance of 80,000 tons of structural steel at the speed of practically free fall. That just would not happen.
If in fact it actually hit and made an impact, it was effectively crushing anything, pushing hard on this core structure below it, the core structure is going to push back equally hard. And that's what's going to cause the top section of the building to slow down.
As energy is drained away from the system to deform those members, it would slow down the descending mass and cause a descent at less than free fall speed.
There is only one way for those buildings to have collapsed at the speed they did.
The buildings.
Anyways, you can watch this video. It goes into a lot more detail about it. That one is called 9/11 Collapses Violated Fundamental Laws of Physics Explained. Building 7. This guy does a report on it.
Downward acceleration of the World Trade Center.
He shows a green line here that shows free fall, and all these squiggly lines here are showing the points of the free fall of Building 7. It is falling at free fall rate, and then in the last couple seconds here it slows down and doesn't fall at free fall anymore. He goes in and plots that if you're interested in all that and how that works. As WTC7 and free fall, no longer controversial. And this was supposed to have happened just because of fire. Okay, so a fire is supposed to universally collapse the entire building from top to bottom, even though it was only on one floor or a couple of floors. The rest of the structure was all intact, and we're told that the interior of the building came down without affecting the edges by NIST, and that's why the penthouse up here fell first, which is absolutely ridiculous, because it's all connected together, and the exterior of the building would have gone down if the interior is falling apart. And even if it didn't, say a shell was left over, it still couldn't fall at free fall because it has its own structure, and it's holding itself up, and it's so incredibly strong that it was able to stand up even though the inside of the building came down first. You know, it's all BS. It's all BS. It's all cover-up lies, BS. Man, it's bad. It's really bad. It's disgusting. Here's another fun video to watch.
Old, tired argument. Airplanes crash into two buildings. Buildings catch fire. Buildings collapse at nearly the rate of free fall. A third building, not hit by an airplane, catches fire and also collapses. This one literally at the rate of free fall. For the first time in history, steel skyscrapers collapse because of fire. 3 times in one day. I'm so sick and tired of this argument. Now, I'm not going to make any claims as to what did or did not happen. Although, if it was a conspiracy, other than the official one involving the 19 hijackers, I do care. But what I'm upset about is the absurd engineering argument that you guys are making.
Anyways, he goes on and talks about kind of like the crane idea. It's just everywhere. I want to let's see if we can find the penthouse suite here. Following. There it is, right up there. And that collapses first. And that's collapsing first, okay, because of what? Fires in the bottom of the building? Give me a break. Give me a break. A little time goes by, and then the whole thing comes down. And they're trying to tell us the whole internal of the building, everything inside fell down first before the outer shell went. That is so ridiculous because the floors on the inside are connected to the shell on the outside. Okay, so now we've just seen the penthouse go down. So that must mean that the entire guts of this building are completely gone now, according to NIST, and the National Institute for Standards and Technology. And okay, we don't see any deformation on the outside of the building, except for the top has gone down. So that they're telling us that all the guts, all the floors inside have gone down. I'll just try to show you their stupid idea. But even so, even if that's the truth, which it isn't, but let's say it was, the shell would still have resistance because it's obviously holding itself up, and it won't fall at free fall speed. It would have to fall slower than that. In other words, free fall acceleration rates. That's what I'm really getting at, acceleration. So let's look at NIST. Building 7, NIST. Let's see what they got. Trying to find something on there. Hold on. This isn't a NIST video, but I thought it was laughable. This guy's a moron. Holy cow.
Building 7 dropped nearly straight down, but not quite. The Verizon building suffered $1.4 billion.
Let's back up a little bit here.
Controlled Demolition, Inc., the world's largest contractor. You can see examples of every imaginable type of structure being brought down with explosives. The main idea when dropping a building is controlling where the debris goes. You usually want to drop it right in its own footprint rather than possibly damaging other structures nearby. Building 7 dropped nearly straight down, but not quite. The Verizon building suffered $1.4 billion in damage, and Manhattan Community College's Federman Hall was so badly crushed that what remained had to be demolished. How could a controlled demolition have managed to get Building 7 to fall so close to its own footprint? Well, one way professionals do this is to drop the center of the building first, and then let it pull the sides down on top of it. Another is to start at one end and let it pull itself down like a line of dominoes. I couldn't find a single example of something the size of Building 7 being dropped straight down all at once. So, no. In fact, it does not fall like a controlled demolition.
Can you believe what this guy is saying? Apparently no one else can either. He's got 1.4 thousand dislikes compared to 470 likes. And he's disabled the comments for this video.
But even more significantly, Building 7's collapse lacked the most obvious and important aspect of a demolition: the explosions. In every single video of a controlled demolition I found, with
explosions. Do we need explosions? Let's see. Building 7 explosions. Let's take a look here. Hold on. Okay, this is Barry Jennings. He was, what was he? I forgot what his position was again. Let's go back and get some background on him.
One of the fire department teams found him. But
52 years old. I've worked for 33 years at one location. Hi, my name is Barry Jennings. I'm 52 years old. I've worked for 33 years at one location. Basically, like I said, I'm married, father of 4.
That's it. Why don't you tell people?
No. Come on, there's something.
Where the World Trade Center.
He worked for some kind of official position. I'm trying to get that. Hold on.
Hi, my name is Barry Jennings. I'm 52 years old. Basically, like I said, I'm married.
Something like the Office of Emergency Management or something. Anyways, he talks about explosions, so you can watch the whole video if you want.
Stairs. When we reached the 8th or the 6th floor, the landing that we were standing on, we went to the stairwell and we're going down the stairs.
Okay, so he's in building 7.
When we reached the 8th or the 6th floor, the landing that we were standing on gave way. There was an explosion and the landing gave way. And I was left there hanging. I had to climb back up and now I had to walk back up to the 8th floor. After getting to the 8th floor, everything was dark. It was dark and it was very, very hot. Very hot. I asked Mr. Hess to test the phones as I took a fire extinguisher.
He died under mysterious circumstances shortly after this interview.
The firefighters came. They came to...
Okay, but that's not good enough yet. Hold on, you can go watch that video. Oh, I really highly recommend it. I think he was taken down because of his testimony. You've probably seen this if you ever watch this sort of stuff. Anyways, there's lots. This guy's going through how he hears different explosions as he's recording throughout the day.
You want to call your mother or something?
Supposed to be right now.
You gotta get back from here. I know that. You gotta get back. All right, smoking. Don't worry about me.
Supposed to be right now.
You gotta get back from here. I know that. You gotta get back. All right, smoking.
So we got to get back. 7 is exploding. Anyways, so there's. Just watch this video. He talks about explosions happening at WP7.
And I'm in the middle of the street walking, and a cop approached me and says, you know, who are you with?
Let's go here.
Out of here. All right? Go.
So I go back up, walk north, not really knowing where I'm going.
Police department?
No, I'm making a documentary on the fire department.
Come on, this ain't fucking Disneyland. Let's go.
And after a while I said, you know, there's nothing I can do here. I said, you know, there's nothing I can do here. I need to go back to the firehouse. Maybe they'll have some news.
So you heard another source of another explosion. In other words, I guess he goes through, I haven't watched the video myself, but I guess he goes through and hears explosions going on throughout the day, and rather than having it all go at once, you have a little bit here, a little bit there as the structure starts to weaken, so you probably don't have to make a whole bunch of blowing up at once. Now, here's something, you know, these are showing flashes. I haven't even seen this video. I mean, I just kind of know what's already going to happen. I've seen enough of these to know what they're going to talk about. Oh, geez, boom. Okay, so now I have all these holes appearing inside the building.
remember getting a call from the fire department commander telling me that they were not sure they were going to be able to contain the fire. And I said, you know, we've had such terrible loss of life. Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it. And they made that decision to pull, and then we watched the building collapse.
No, gee. The guy actually admits it. Come on. And then they said, oh no, we meant just to pull the firefighters out of there. No, pull it. Not pull the firefighters out. Come on. He just, this old man's so stupid, he thinks that people will believe that they wired it up in one day or something. I mean, he's... Wow. Anyways, go ahead, check it all out. Building 7. Let's watch this, BBC. Let's see. Come on, show it. Probably taking it down now. Oh yeah, here we go.
New York have been hit by airplanes. In Washington, there is a large fire at the Pentagon. The Pentagon has been evacuated. And there, as you can see, perhaps the second tower, the front tower, the top portion of which is collapsing.
Because everybody, once you have seen Building 7, there is no way back. You can cheat on yourself, and you can try to suppress it, but you cannot. You have seen it, and then there's no way back. It's not very healthy, you know, to lie to yourself and say, no, I didn't see that. But many people do, because it's simply too painful.
Now, more on the latest building collapse in New York. You might have heard a few moments ago I was talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing, and indeed it has. It seems that this was not a result of a new attack. It was because the building had been weakened during this morning's attacks. We'll probably find out more now about that from our correspondent, Jane Stanley. Jane, what more can you tell us about the Salomon Brothers building and its collapse?
Well, only really what you already know. Details are very, very sketchy. As you can see behind me, the Trade Center appears to be still...
Okay, so they're telling us about this building that is collapsed right here. Except that there's one small problem. It's still standing up.
burning. We see these huge clouds of smoke and ash, and we know that behind that there's an empty piece of what was a very familiar New York skyline, a symbol of the financial prosperity of this city, but completely disappeared now, and New York is still unable to take on board what has happened to them today.
Presumably there were very few people in the Salomon building when it collapsed. I mean, there were, I suppose, fears of possible further collapses around the area.
Building 7 is the Salomon building. It's the same building.
That's what you would hope, because they don't really know where to turn. That's the very sad thing. I think there's going to be a lot of very, very traumatized people that has hit them very, very hard.
Jane, I think many of us, when we heard the news, perhaps on the radio earlier today, were completely flabbergasted by it and just couldn't comprehend it. I mean, it almost sounded too far-fetched. I was wondering what it's felt like for you being in Manhattan. Well, unfortunately, I think we've lost the line with Jane Stanley in Manhattan.
Oops. We gotta cover this up. They announced it too soon. Lose the line. Have technical difficulty.
Now, here we're going to show you a videotape of the collapse itself. Now we go to videotape the collapse of this building. Amazing, incredible picture word.
Too far-fetched.
For the third time today, it's reminiscent of those pictures we've all seen too much on television before, when a building was deliberately destroyed by well-placed dynamite to knock it down.
See what you see and not what you're supposed to see.
Anyways. Okay, so you can watch a million videos on this. it's just it really comes down to physics and the acceleration rate of free fall, and how the videos I showed you earlier. Well, this guy's a joke here, but anyways, watch this interview here with Barry Jennings. Watch the other videos I mentioned regarding the free fall speed. You'd have to back this video up to find them. I can't remember where they are. Or I got them in my history, I guess.
There's another one. I'm taking a look.
Oh my God! Oh shit! Oh my God!
This one here.
Oh my God!
Watch this one.
Another plane.
Watch this one.
Another tower. Oh my God!
So this one's
Wow. By marking 2 data points, the program can compute.
Oh my God!
Okay, so watch this video here called WTC7 in freefall, no longer controversial. And watch, this one here.
They did.
The building. It's called 9/11 Collapses Violated Fundamental Laws of Physics Explained. And yeah, that's why I have a hard time, Barry, hold on. So, when I see this guy, General Brown, I'm not saying, anything particular about him, just he was in that video about the future of warfare. And for me personally, when I see this kind of thing here, and see him get awards like the Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, or this award here, on, given to him by George Bush, of course. And by the way, I'm a Republican. George Bush needs to go to jail. So when I see all that sort of stuff, it just makes me upset, because, he talks to you with such a great smile, and he's such a red, white, and blue, good American guy, and yet you think to yourself, come on, you got to know the truth. And, the Pentagon, the same thing, all the guys in the Pentagon, all those, when you get to be a 4-star general, you're basically a politician at that point. So that's my anger. That's why I'm upset. If he really wanted to stop terrorism, there's plenty of evidence out there, and I think the guy's smart enough to know what's going on. He would work to expose 9/11. Yeah, there are terrorists, a lot of Islamic terrorism. I get it. But I don't think we have a right to go in and just start taking over countries and killing thousands of people and displacing them from their homes, and having our own military guys get slaughtered as well over lies like 9/11. That crime has never come to an end. And Architects for Engineers for 9/11 Truth are working on it. Whoops. They are currently suing the FBI, it looks like. I just found out by doing these links. The FBI, the FBI, didn't really investigate it. The 9/11 Commission report wasn't really an investigation, This whole thing is just... you can't expect the criminals to do an investigation into their own crime, It's just sick. So hopefully they get some kind of traction in the courts, but I wouldn't be surprised if they don't. But anyways, you can go to their evidence and watch their video gallery, I guess. They got different videos to watch, all kinds of different things to look at in here on this page. And these are real architects and engineers. At least people, it may not all be skyscraper engineers, but there's still, I'm sure there are a few in there that are. They have like 3,000 signatures, and so from people that are saying they want an investigation in 9/11. So anyways, you can watch the video about how they're clicking one more, and you can watch a video here about how they're suing the FBI. They're trying to raise money to go after the FBI. And they do a little video here on their website about what they're up to. So you may want to check that out as well. Just give you
Yeah. Well, right. And say all these people are from the Iran-Contra. I mean, that's a good starting point for 9/11. What these people. And Kevin Ryan that document that use very sophisticated electronic equipment, and in fact that information is now all in the federal government. That information was never shared that we know of with the 9/11 Commission.
The thermite evidence.
The thermite, never. None of this explosive evidence, because they took the theory that fires brought it down. Now, fire had never brought a building down, a high-rise steel structure building. It can't alone from fire. It can't. What brings it down is detonation, controlled demolitions, bombs, and things of that nature.
And certainly the thermite evidence, the work that's been done by architects and engineers and your colleagues, Richard, there's no other explanation. What would thermite be doing there? Is it ever used in the construction of buildings, or is there any use for thermite that could be explained?
Oh yeah, all the time. Just kidding. The work here is largely the group of 8 international scientists led by Niels Harrit and Stephen Jones and others, who have found in all of their 8 or 7 independently collected samples of the dust around World Trade Center 7 these curious red gray chips. They're attracted by a magnet. They're about 1/16 of an inch long. They zoom in. Well, they do X-ray energy dispersive spectroscopy, and what do they find? They find the evidence of thermite, and a very particular form of thermite. But the XEDS finds that you have iron oxide and aluminum powder, the ingredients of thermite, in all of these unignited chips of nanothermite. How do they know they're nanothermite? Because then they zoom in 50,000 times with an electron microscope, and they find iron oxide crystals and aluminum platelets that are 1,000 times smaller than the diameter of a human hair. What are they doing in the World Trade Center dust? They're set in an organic bed of oxygen, silica, carbon. Organic material is what makes TNT give its explosiveness. So here we have an incendiary that's been engineered to become more explosive. So they find when they heat these up in a differential scanning calorimeter, which is a heater, that they produce a lot more energy after they're heated up, indicating they're an energetic material, thermitic energetic component. So what happens when these go off at 758 degrees Fahrenheit? They also release molten iron microspheres, almost naked to the human eye. What's interesting about that is these are molten iron, so temperatures exceeding 2,800 degrees. Well, this is exactly what the USGS, the U.S. Geological Survey, finds in all of their dozens and dozens and dozens of toxicological studies on the dust. And they document, hey, they have all these previously molten iron microspheres, but they have no idea where they came from. But they're ubiquitous. There's so many of them that they identify it as a signature component of the World Trade Center dust. Well, where do they come from? Molten iron is the byproduct of thermite. Thermite is an incendiary used by the military to cut through steel like a hot knife through butter.
It's a very sophisticated chemical compound.
Well, especially when you get it to the nanoscale.
There are people on the internet who would have us believe that a collision by the airplane and some sort of chemical reaction between the airplane fuel and components of the air conditioning in the building could cause this thermite.
This is how desperate they are to try to explain away this forensic
There's no way
evidence.
Something like that could result
No,
in
you
such a
can't
complex-
grind an airplane against steel beams and have it produce nanoparticles.
Anyways, you can go on and watch all this. There's so much evidence. There's mountains of evidence. If you have an open mind and you can actually realize you're being lied to, we just found out the Mueller investigation is a big, witch hunt. Okay. These guys. By the way, Robert Mueller was appointed just a few days before 9/11. He's a cover-up guy. But I think he probably realizes that. It's Mueller, or whatever his name is. I'm sorry. Let's see if I can get this right. He probably realizes that he's pushing too hard right now, and he better back off. And but if you look at it, he was in charge of the FBI. When did he take charge? When did he get in there? How convenient. 7 days before 9/11. So, yeah. And, of course, the FBI never did a good investigation, and that's why these guys are suing the FBI. And who was our wonderful head of the FBI at the time? Enough. There's so much evidence on this. I don't know if this website's still up. I haven't looked in years. Killtown.com? Is it called Killtown? Hold on. I'm not sure if it's this website or not. It's a real old one, but it's got, from Right, it's got all kinds of articles and unbelievable amount of information. But it looks like, no, it's been discontinued, I guess. I don't know what's going on with it. It's a real old one. But maybe we can get something. Let's see. Oh, okay, they still got some info in here if you want to read till your eyeballs fall out of your head. They've got all kinds of stuff in here to read. So, who knows? I can't endorse everything they say or what, but you could probably find a lot out here if you wanted. Anyways, okay, I gotta finish this video, so have fun.